Welcome to First Garden, New Gardener. I'm Joy Baird. Let's talk about mulch. Mulch is one of the important tools in your garden. And you most likely have mulch available on your property and you may not even know it. We've got over here, in the fall months, we save a tremendous amount of leaves and bring them in and pile them up in the garden. In this tomato bed, we're using those as mulch. Now we will have to, as that breaks down, we'll have to cover that with an additional item such as straw. In front of you, you can get this at your local independent farm store, typically $5 to $8 a bale, something in that range. If you're concerned about the chemicals that may be sprayed on it, you can certainly ask the people at the store on that. I grew up on a farm and we never sprayed our wheat, so I do understand that some people do in order for a variety of different reasons. So those are two types of mulch. One you probably have or do have in the fall, one you'll have to purchase. Let's go to the other end of the garden and take a look at some other items that you have growing right now. Two more items in which you can utilize in your garden, containers, raised beds, or ground is one, if you have a lot of pine trees available, you can get the pine cones and you can layer those in, and those act as twofold. One, with any mulch, it's suppressing the weeds and holding the moisture in and keeping the soil from being exposed to the atmosphere. That's your main objective when it comes to utilizing mulch and the importance of mulch. Pine needles or pine cones are doing that for you in that realm. Also, a bonus to that is if you're growing in containers or a raised bed and you have animals, whether squirrels or chipmunks or neighborhood cats trying to use your raised bed or your container as a litter box, this will deter them as they can't and do not want to get up on there as it's prickly to their feet. Another addition that you can utilize from a pine tree is pine needles. They do not make your soil acidic. At the time that they're on the tree, yes, but by the time they fall and they would break down into a usable, compostable black soil, it's neutralized. So you can take those needles and incorporate that into your garden and it will keep for a very long time, much longer than leaves will. And you can work them in the soil. It's not going to affect the pH level or the acidity or the alkaline levels in your soil. Another thing that you probably have lots of is paper or cardboard that you can shred up. Now the ink in the paper is soy-based, so you don't have to worry about the toxicity being there. Yes, there is some glue that is made in the cardboard adhesion process, and if you feel that's too toxic or a concern of that, incorporating that into your compost bin or utilizing it as mulch around your plants, then you can leave that out. But shredded paper works really good. It may not be the most eye-appealing, but it works very well, not only in your raised beds, your ground, but also you can use it in your compost pile. So let's take a look at a few more options when it comes to mulch. Another item is what you have growing in your yard all the time, which is grass. Now, two things you need to keep in mind about grass clippings. Three, really. One, you do not want to utilize it if it's been sprayed with a weed and feed that contains a persistent herbicide that will kill the broadleaf plants in your yard. If used in the mulch form, that herbicide bonds to the grass clippings, and then when you water or it rains, it releases and it kills and toxifies your soil and kills your plants. Secondly, if you have put in the compost pile and turn it into black soil, that herbicide is still so persistent that it will still be active and kill your plants. So you don't want to use grass clippings if that's been sprayed on your lawn. Second, you don't want to use grass clippings if it has seed pods on it. You can tell the difference between a weed that has a seed pod versus, or a grass that has a seed pod. It has an additional growth at the top. This is a question that we do get regularly, and I want to make sure everybody's clear. Something like this I would not utilize as mulch, because even though these seeds may be immature, they could, and I have seen certain plants be very vigorous and do drop the seeds, and then they start growing in your vegetable garden. So you want to keep that in mind. Also, when you take your grass clippings, you want to bag them, or if you have a heavy, thick lawn, you can throw them and put them on the grass and rake them up. You do not want to put those wet clippings directly around your plants. Two reasons. One, you create a barrier that prevents the water from going through those grass clippings into the soil. And two, by putting that wet grass clippings around your plant, it can create fungus and mold and bacteria that can affect the plants you're trying to get to grow. So keep that in mind when it comes to grass clippings. Great mulch if you follow those steps. And finally, another mulch in which you can utilize is wood chips or wood shavings. Now, this is Can be controversial based on who you ask, but here's the simple truth about it. If you take and layer them on top of your raised bed and do not mix them in, they work really well when it comes to protecting the soil. Now there's certain trees and certain wood chips that you want to avoid. You can do your research based on your geographical area, what may be available for you. But you can use those wood chips, and at the end of the year you can rake them back if you're going to till, or you can leave them and move them away and plant the following year. Also, mulch that has a cocoa flavor, or a cocoa mulch that has a chocolate flavor, however you want to define that, you want to avoid that if you have dogs, because they want to consume that. They like eating that. That's a good smell, and chocolate for dogs can be fatal. So those are some mulches that will help your garden thrive by holding moisture, suppressing weeds, and keeping your plants healthy all growing season. Thanks for watching. I'm Joy Baird. This has been First Garden, New Gardener. As always, remember to rate, subscribe, and comment.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.